Great. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Democratizing Startup Knowledge event. We give now a short introduction to what you need to know right now on your startup path. Well, we don't know it yet, but we are gonna make us know it and make you know it in a while, and that's our project, and we hope that you will join. So here starts the short introduction. Today, doing this intro, we have me, Santeri Tuovila. I'm the co-founder of Tribe Tampere, and I've been involved in many startup ecosystem building projects, from which this is one of the most interesting, since this has global scalability, not just local impact. And I'm happy to work in democratizing startup knowledge. With here, we have...
Hi, I'm Heikki. I'm founder of Lean Entries. We've built a tool that might be of use for this concept that we're thinking to provide the startup knowledge.
Hello, working with this team, providing some backup support, and working with Tribe Tampere and Brainstorm Corner.
And Tariq Häkkinen.
Hello there, I'm Tariq Häkkinen from Kaava, and we've been helping startups get from idea stage to MVP and beyond over the last couple of years, and probably been talking to between 40 and 50 companies over the last couple of years.
Thank you. Just short notice of how we are doing this. We are doing it with the help of Tribe Tampere, which stands for team spirit, doers do attitude, and growth mindset. And we believe in taking responsibility and trusting others. We are inclusive. Anybody can join to do it, but when we do it as a team. We get things done, and that's what unites us. We like to talk, but the talk usually leads to something concrete. We believe in this. And we go for the extra mile. We want to grow as a people and grow the businesses and grow the initiatives that we start. And that's what we are here for. We are here to do something better than we could have done before we started.
Okay, so thanks to Heikki on giving us a bit of idea of the technical aspects of the platform and the reason why we've kind of partnered with Lean Entries as an enabler, if you like, for the digital platform. But I'd like to take it back a few steps actually and just talk about the reason why we're doing this. I think we all kind of, as entrepreneurs and even non-entrepreneurs, have ideas, or lots of them. I know myself, I mean, I've had over the years like hundreds of ideas, and my brother even has a little black book where he kind of puts all his ideas down here. But what becomes of those ideas? I mean, how many of those ideas go into, proof of concept or MVP? And, the hard, cold truth of it is not very many. Heikki and I had the pleasure of speaking to a very well-known university in Helsinki who had done a study on 1,000 business students with business ideas. And if you can take a guess at how many of those 1,000 business students with business ideas actually followed it through and created something tangible, has anyone got any ideas on what that percentage or number might be?
I know the answer.
Yeah, it's not fair because Heikki knows the answer. But it was 2%. Well, it was so 990 of them didn't have ideas. So had ideas but didn't do anything with them. So it's 1%. So 10 people. So there's like 990 business students in Helsinki walking around with these great ideas in their heads right now. And one day, maybe even today, they will look at their social media feed or see a headline in a news article, and there'll be a company that's just turned into a unicorn, and they would be like, that was my idea. You know, and how many times have we kind of, you know, we've played with these ideas and then later on seen something that resembles an idea that you have in your head and go, damn, I should have done that. But let's kind of look a little bit deeper into why that is. And if we're looking at like nationally, for instance, here in Finland, then, you know, the government here basically supports failure. So, you know, if you have a startup and it all goes wrong, then there is some money for you to gather yourself back up again and do it all again, which should be pretty awesome for startups, right? Because there's lots of risk and there's a big chance of failure. So it should be almost the perfect ground to have perfect area to have a startup. But unfortunately, the opposite occurs. And the opposite is that it kind of removes the element of hunger. So people aren't hungry enough when there is a lovely white, big, fluffy cloud to fall into. So, you know, it's obviously great that this system here is to support people, but it just kind of, it tends to have the opposite effect here locally. And another thing that's kind of, that's here in Finland is it's a cultural thing. It's people don't like to ask for help, generally speaking. And there are, of course, exceptions to the rule. I mean, you guys and people listening, there may be exceptions to that rule. However, you know, when I arrived here 2 years ago from Dubai, there was a campaign going in Helsinki called Mitä kuuluu, because people didn't want to say hello to each other or didn't want to talk to each other. So imagine that then when you're asking your friends and family for funding, right? So are you going to go and ask your friends and family funding if you can't say hello to your neighbor? So it's not only, by the way, it's not only in Finland this problem, but it is specifically a problem here. And then there's a more global problem, which is funding, initiatives and support at this pre-entrepreneurial stage or pre-entering an ecosystem stage. There's almost nothing available there. And because, you know, people don't like to ask for help, they're more likely to go and find the help themselves using a computer online. So let's get back to those. Let's just get back to quickly those 990 people wandering around Helsinki with ideas in their heads, or a bunch of people who are unemployed, or somebody who's maybe just become redundant from their job. These guys have ideas too, right? So you know, they want to kind of develop those ideas too. But what if there was a way to validate those ideas, and not only validate the ideas, but validate the individuals? Because, you know, if you study to become a surgeon for 10 years and then realize you don't like the sight of blood and you faint in the operating room, then you're not going to be very good. So that's 10 years wasted of your life. Or you want to become a pilot, or you don't like speed or heights. That's 5 years wasted of your life. So being an entrepreneur is exactly the same. Like, it's not cut out for everybody. And we're here to validate not just them, but also the idea. But it doesn't mean that just because you don't have the entrepreneurial traits or skills that you can't learn them or find somebody else to help you with them. But all we're saying is that, look, if you don't have what it takes, then don't waste the next 10 years or 5 years on becoming an entrepreneur, because it's not for you. You know, you're better off finding a job in a company. So that's where Funstar comes in. And what we're here to do is, or what the platform does, or what it's intended to do, is to be a super easy way to validate not only you, but your company and your idea. And if you do have the wings to fly, then a systematic, intuitive, stage-by-stage process that enables you to get from idea all the way to MVP. And let me give you an example of that. So let's say we have 10 stages on this platform. Number 1 is where you start, and number 10 is you've got a fully fledged working MVP. Let's say you get to number 6 and you want to go to slush, for example. But you can't go to slush at number 6, it's number 7. So when you get to stage 7, you go to slush. And why is that? Because you're not ready yet. And how many companies, startups that are applying to go to Kiwas or to Startup Sauna or to Slush or to Arctic 15 or to a bunch of other initiatives, and they get rejected? It's only about 10% of those, all those applications, that ever actually get through, because the other 90% are too early. So what we do is that with the idea behind Fundstar is to give people the knowledge and resources to get where they need to go, to get where they need to go at any specific stage, but also the information they put into the system, we give back as well. So let's say at stage 7, you need to have a fully fledged pitch deck, right? If you've filled in everything and you've learned about what you need to do, then we will give you that pitch deck, or we will give you that lean canvas, or we will give you that investor deck, or we will give you that go-to-market strategy. So the idea behind it is not just that you go on there and you input some information and find out if you can validate your product, but if we agree that what you have is something worth investing in, so it's innovative, it's disruptive, it's something that is cheaper and faster and more effective, something that's out there, and we say, hey, this is a great idea, it's good for you to put to work, you can save yourself, the idea is to save you years and years from the very start. So if it's not something that is going to fly, then you all may have the skills to become an entrepreneur, but put those skills to use in a different area. But ultimately, in a very short space of time, we can systematically get you from A to Z much, much quicker. And I think what's missing right now is if you want to enter a profession, you have an interview and you'll have some kind of skills or some kind of education that will get you that job. To be a startup, to be an entrepreneur, you don't need any kind of background at all. Anyone can be a startup. But wouldn't it be great if there was a foundation, and this was the foundation? So when you go to FIBAN, for instance, and they'll say, what's your Fundstar rating? I'm 6. Well, when you get to 7, come and see us because you're auto-qualified. When you get to 7, you just click on the link. The application for FIBAN is already filled in for you. How long will it take you to fill in the application to FIBAN? It'll take you 2 or 3 days, but you've already given us information. So why can't we integrate that into the system and make it easier for you? So imagine then you need to do your commercials, for instance, to do your investor deck. You've already given us information, so we will just spit out an investor deck for you that you can edit or you can submit as you need it. So my point is that the validation process, I think, is really important, but the foundational elements in what we're trying to offer is to give some kind of a rating system there for all startups. And this is not just for pre-entrepreneurs or individuals who have not entered the ecosystem yet. This works for early stage startups. It works for seed stage startups. And what it does, it gives those companies a rating that enables individuals to understand where are you in your journey. Because the 50 or so companies that we've seen, they're all at different stages, but they don't know which stage they're at. When they're filling their investor decks in or their pitch decks in, they don't know what an investor wants. When you walk into a meeting with an investor, the investors, they all have a specific basic requirements. So you need to have those 5 or 6 boxes ticked. It's your team, it's your business model, it's the market fit, it's a bunch of stuff. Our job is to make sure that those prerequisites are already fit. And then when you go and see the investors about whether or not he wants to invest in this product or service and your team, everything else is done. So I guess what we're trying to do with Fundstar, we're a startup like many of you guys out there and individuals in here, we're trying to validate what we have and create this robust system that includes government entities, FIBAN, Business Finland. I've got a slide here that kind of shows that hopefully, but it gives you an idea of how we're trying to lace this all together to provide this robust system that everybody can live within, but at any given point, at any different stage, they're able to apply to go into those areas without having to worry about that, are they qualified or not. So that's the kind of the basic principle of what we are trying to achieve with Fundstar. And I guess that's what we're here to discuss a little bit further. So thank you for letting me say my bit.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, that was great.
Maybe just make it look a bit fancier. All right, everyone, I'm Heikki again, and we are a Tampere-based startup, and what we provide are digital services for the health tech sector. And during the past 20 years, I've bumped into the regulations in the health tech domain, and all the standards and regulations there make up quite a pile of documents and requirements for the health tech developers, and for the early comer, it is quite a substantive amount of knowledge that they would need to understand, but it's very hard for them to comprehend or even take those books and start from scratch and to learn. So we've come up with a digital concept to tackle that problem. It all starts from this idea presented also by Advamed, which is the largest health tech association in the United States. They also state in their press release addressed to the US government that the smaller ones who might be very R&D focused and drive the innovation in the health tech sector, but they struggle to navigate through the tough regulatory pathways. In a similar way, the world is full of information that can be very complex for anyone to comprehend. And startup knowledge is one such piece of information. And being a startup owner myself, I know from experience how tough it was before setting up the company 4 years ago to find all that relevant information that I would need to make my startup a success. So that is also why I'm very passionate about this concept that Tariq from Kaava came to suggest, and now we are mingling with tribe and people in Tampere and other cities to figuring out whether this concept would hold water to really make a difference for startups. Provide information in a minute format. We're talking about complex information, and the platform that we created that could be a part of the solution is a no-code platform where anyone could set up different types of pathways into that complex knowledge and information. I will show you an example. This is from the health tech domain, from our own domain area on medical device regulations. Here you would start from scratch without even knowing maybe if your product or software is regulated by the medical device regulations here. So you will find out whether the device or the product qualifies as a medical device and what would be the classification of that device, then to move on and learn about the regulation. You can move ahead and rule out things like software. If you don't have it, you can just say no. But if you have it, you might be interested in pulling out the information relevant for medical device software along your way. Examples and all of the information we've collected here. And the point is that this knowledge, like the startup knowledge, is not only from our head, but it is based on something concrete. So when you turn on the references, you will come to see where this bit of information came from. It's from this guidance document published by the European Commission in this case. And the question originates from the medical device regulation article 2.1. So we have the ability to pinpoint people to the right location to read the actual regulation and find more information for themselves. But turning off the references, that is more relevant for maybe for the regulatory part. Let me move on to show a little bit more about the platform. Here we have the medical device definition torn into pieces. So you can pick any intended purposes relevant for your device. Let's pick a few therapeutic purposes. I will just skip few tough questions, which would take us to a new path. But in this case, we can conclude that according to what I've answered, this would be a medical device, and this would be printed in your final report. So not only does it guide you through the qualification and classification of your product as a medical device, but it also provides you all of the information that is out there in those piles of documents to navigate through it. So instead of being in the haze for months regarding this topic, you have that information available for you in a matter of minutes. digested, reorganized for you by domain experts like ourselves. And moving forward, just to give you a glimpse on our platform, this would be, here you would see how easy it is to format the questions and the answers. You can just type in whatever you want. You can define what would be a multiple choice option here or a single answer option here, where to put the guidance relevant regarding the specific answer or the question, and all the other features we have here to help out anyone with little knowledge about the regulation, terminology, links, and all that content. So this would be what we created. I will just give you a quick glimpse on the tool. So this would be the no-code platform. If I'd go into one of these cells, I would also reveal our intellectual property, and we want to maintain that. So unfortunately, I cannot do that without a confidentiality agreement with the organizations we work with. But here you can see you put the terms and references and links into a database, and you can then pull them out wherever you want to place them along the path. But the really valuable thing on our platform is the clever logics that we built in it, because the first MVPs that we built were on Typeform, which is similar to SurveyMonkey or Webapol, to build questionnaires. And ours is rather an answernaire than a questionnaire. So as you fill in the blanks, you also are pushed with information, and you have the ability then to learn as you move ahead. And the logics is the golden egg we consider to have in our system. And what we then can achieve with such a concept, where traditionally people don't even want to open up these piles of paper, the regulation and standards. We now have the ability to put them on a very steep learning curve and create a new baseline of knowledge that we would also like to bring to startups on the startup knowledge. And if you think of our value proposition on the map, where we could pinpoint thousands of competitors from our field. There's a lot of consultants, a lot of training and webinar providers in our field, a lot of different types of ways of sharing the knowledge, templates and such. But we are only providing a new concept on top of all of that, or in front of all of that. And we claim that this concept bears the potential to educate people and get them on that crucial new baseline of knowledge, where then people like Tariq and everyone who has been there already helping out startups, but the startups would be more knowledgeable. They would understand better what to discuss with Tariq and people like him, or people at the city unemployment desk, and what would be their options and ways to move forward. So this kind of a platform could offer the baseline of knowledge, and then there would be more valuable also for everyone, for the whole community, to move forward with whatever they are starting up. Let me see if I had anything more relevant. There are cases that I could show you that we've done in paper industry, for example, in Finland already, but I would not go into that detail. I will just give you a quick glimpse on the actual prototype. And I must emphasize that this is Tariq who came to us. Tariq can tell the story in a while, but he came to us to ask whether this platform could be harnessed to do something good for the startup ecosystem. And we thought about that for a while and realized that there is an Ultra Hack event coming up in 2 weeks after Tariq came to me. And we attended the Ultra Hack, and this is now the beginning of the story. And now we're here in Tampere, sitting with Tribe Tampere and discussing this same thing. But let me just quickly introduce you what we've done so far in the Ultra Hack. And this was basically using the no-code platform. So we didn't need to hack anything, basically. We just needed to populate the system. So you could, this gives you some guidance in what it means to enter the FundStar system. Get me through the startup basics. it would ask you on the level of innovation you're at. For example, this is just a prototype, so these are our suggestions that you wouldn't need to follow, but this is something to start from. What is the stage you're at? And if you don't know what MVP means, you would get the terminology, or what does it mean to build, to validate and learn, or what does pivoting means. You would get those central startup terminologies out, or links to the startup book, lean startup book, actually, if you'd want to purchase and read it, because that would be a very valuable thing to do. Let me say that I'm in early stage. Then it would ask me a more defined level on the TRL, NASA technological readiness level, if you like. This is one option to provide. Let's say that we have something validated already. How scalable would the solution be? And you would learn about scalability, what it means. I didn't understand the concept when I started out. What is scalability? Then I needed to look it up. Yeah. So it would be right here. Well, let's say this, and then crucial questions about the team, for example. Well, I'm just me at this moment. The knowledge I have is on actually on technology only. I don't know anything about anything else. So we would populate a system, and this information would then run to the hands of someone at the other end of the path. And Tariq will explain you more what are his ideas. And let's say that you don't have funding yet. It would ask you a load of questions. What kind of business model are you actually having, or would it be both B2C and B2B, and learn about what it means. Then the necessary part to describe the idea in a bit. And then what is very essential, and maybe one of the hardest things to put into a written format, what kind of commitment do you have to set up a startup? And so load of tricky questions, but even the more easy to answer when we provide that guidance along the way as you move. And at the end of the path, there could be the report. It could be pushed to people who could then help you out to move forward with your initiative. Or one of the end results could be that you realize that you don't have it in you to really move forward to become a startup entrepreneur. This is as much as I wanted to show you. So the platform enables things and enables prototyping. I'm not insisting that this would be the ultimate solution, but something concrete that we could utilize to figure out if there's a new value proposition here. Thanks.